Each time he appears in a movie, Bill Murray seems to enhance his reputation as one of America's finest comic actors. As Dustin Hoffman's buddy in the film Tootsie, he more than stood up to that dynamo. In Ghostbusters, he seems to attract all the good lines. When I interviewed Bill Murray in New York, he was getting a lot of media attention at the time. I asked him how it affected his life.
Well, I don't watch. It helps me a lot that I don't watch generally. I don't know how to take it yet. You know, I still am not used to it.
You're one of 9 children.
And that, I still don't know how to take that either. I'm never going to be used to that.
Bill, in Ghostbusters, you play a parapsychologist.
Mm-hmm.
What is a parapsychologist, really? And are they real medical doctors? I mean,
Larry, you've stumped me. And frankly, I did not do my research on this. Dan Aykroyd wrote the script. I have no idea what a parapsychologist does. I'm stumped. I know they're not real medical doctors. And I think it's, they study parapsychology, which I once knew the definition of, but it's like para sort of like means like above psychology, beyond psychology, that which is not ordinarily explained by psychology, higher psychology. Am I getting close?
You're getting close.
And basically we were bad parapsychologists, and that's why we were kicked out of, Columbia, and we formed a company called Ghostbusters.
And you were the worst.
I was the worst, and I am the worst.
But were those lines, you had the best lines in the film, I think. You had some wonderful ways, threw them away, too. Were they your own? I know it was a collaborative effort, but were they your own creation?
Well, some of them were, but Dan and Harold really wrote the story and the script, you know, and that's really where the excitement was. I mean, you can make up funny lines on a set, but you don't get to the set unless somebody writes a real good story, you know, so I'm not going to take too much credit, especially since most of Dan's relatives are going to be watching this show.
You're quite right. And Ivan Reitman's relatives,
That's right,
too,
Ivan's right. Yeah.
Canadian.
Yeah. So everyone's busily grabbing all the credit for this movie when they're interviewed by someone from a city where they know Dan has no relatives.
You have worked, of course, for such a long time. You made Stripes and Meatballs with Ivan, and you've worked with this group for such a long time. It's interesting, when I've been on a set watching actors, I'm always struck with the enormous responsibility and the pressure. There's so much pressure in this business. But did you feel that pressure when you're working together as a group?
Well, they tried to make us feel a little pressure on this one. Generally, we don't, because when we're together, we're like, I don't want to say the New York Islanders anymore, but something like the Oilers, you know. You feel like together we can do anything. And we've done it before, we'll do it again, and we feel real strong. We studied hard together, and we know a lot. We don't know a lot, too, but we know a lot of things that will work, and we just feel pretty cocky about it, which you sort of have to do to pull this off sometimes. And we spent a lot of money on this movie because it was special effects, and they had to design cameras to do these things, and you know, so people would come by, you know, guys in blue suits, and say and stroll out, you know, and look at us, and we're like screwing around, you know, everybody's waiting to roll, but we're telling jokes, and they're going So we'd immediately turn on this guy and go after him, and he'd last about 2 minutes, and then they'd send over another guy the next day, you know. But really,
the budget watchdogs.
The budget watchdogs, but we really did scare them off. It's something you have to do because it means the director can be loose, you know. And Ivan doesn't need some creep hanging over his shoulder. Ivan's only made, you know, 5 of the most successful movies of all time. You know, all he needs is some little junior accountant to say, "Excuse me, is that real rye bread?" You know, get out. You know, you know.
John Candy, I saw him last weekend, and he was closeted with other creative people. And
Candy's in the closet? No.
So he said
was
he was working. He's doing some deals with Disney.
Oh, right. He's got a deal, right?
He was saying to me that it's not enough to be an actor, a good actor, or a creative personality anymore. You've got to be an astute businessman to survive in this Hollywood jungle.
This is rich. This is rich. Can I have a copy of this tape? John Candy is probably the most astute businessman that Field Marshal von Bismarck ever met. Candy, will you get off with this stupid businessman? Candy is a guy who, when I was in the Second City with him in Chicago, ordered carpeting and drapes over the phone from one of those late-night TV things. They said 3 rooms for $199. They ended up coming in and saying, oh, $199, that pretty much just gives you like gray felt. He spent $1,200 on carpeting and lime carpeting and drapes, gold drapes. And Candy's a guy who always has a gold cigarette lighter and no money in his pocket. I mean, I'm sure things are clearing up now, John, but these guys from Lincoln Carpeting dunned him. They dunned him for months. We were making $150 a week before taxes in the theater, and he spends $1,200 on carpeting, and I mean, what the hell? He's an astute businessman, John Candy. He certainly is. What a riot.
It's only fair to John that we jump right off this subject. Now,
we'll get him later. No, you got to. It's a funny business. It's true. Candy's carpeting aside, you have to. You know, it's funny. All of a sudden, you're dealing on a business level when all you really have to do is make jokes. But there's a lot of business involved, and you got to. All of a sudden, you have to act like you know what you're doing about business, and you start saying, you know, no and yes. I mean, the big words are no and yes. You know, it takes trouble. It's hard to say those.
I'm interested in Razor's Edge. The Razor's Edge. You've just finished that film. Now, what part did you play?
I played the part that Tyrone Power played in the original, part of Larry Darrell, from a Somerset Maugham novel. And John Byram and I wrote the screenplay, and we did it for Columbia, and we shot in the Indian Himalayas and Paris and London, and we had quite a time getting it done, and I think it's going to be a good movie. It's a completely straight drama for me. I'd never done it before, and
How did you like doing straight drama? Was that pressured?
Yeah, that was pressure. It was really pressure because that was a movie that we didn't have a lot of money to work with, so we had to really know what we were doing, and we were always working in countries where they didn't necessarily speak English, you know. In England, they don't speak English. In France, they don't speak English. And in India, they speak 7 different languages. So you really had, I mean, talk about the Tower of Babel. Trying to get something done at 17,000 feet with people that speak 7 different languages was kind of crazy.